Hey there, pirates! Welcome aboard the Anime No Me channel. From the moment Gunko showed up, it was hard not to like her. Honest, clumsy, super expressive, and with that natural sense of humor that sticks with you. Like she was already part of the crew, and maybe, just maybe, that's exactly what Oda wanted to plant from the very beginning. Because everything about her has that lost straw hat vibe, a character who seems goofy at first glance but carries much more beneath the surface. Then, in chapter 1153, came the reveal that Shanks also had the Abyss Mark, located exactly on the arm he lost, and it felt like a silent puzzle piece clicked into place. Maybe Gunko is living through something similar, and that could lead her straight into Luffy's crew, the Abyss. Mark, this scar that looks more like a seal than anything else, isn't just a random visual detail. When Gunko mentioned she sometimes has memories that aren't hers, and that she somehow feels like she knew Brook before she even met him, many people brushed it off as a case of being a superfan. But now, with the info from the latest chapter, it's starting to look like those memories aren't just admiration. Maybe, just maybe, Gunko has some kind of blood connection to Brook. And that's wild to think about, right? Because Brook died over 50 years ago with his entire crew. But what if, for some unknown reason, part of the Rumbar Pirates' DNA was preserved? Maybe through technology? Maybe via world government experiments? Or even through Imu, who clearly has an interest in marking certain people as targets or pieces. We already know the Abyss Mark might be a control mechanism. If Shanks had this mark on his arm, it could mean that at some point he was one of those chosen to be controlled, and he made the radical decision to break free from it, literally tearing off the marked arm. But unlike Shanks, Gunko still carries her mark, and that might explain why she feels this strange pull between freedom and confusion. She wants to get close to Brook. She feels safe with Luffy, but something keeps holding her back. Maybe it's a dormant command. Maybe it's a voice she doesn't understand but still feels deep inside. And if this mark really connects to Imusama's chessboard of selected pieces, then it sheds light on a lot of murky stuff. Gunko might have been marked since she was a baby, without ever knowing why. Maybe her birth is tied to experiments using samples from the Void Century, or maybe she has a link to a lost Elbaf bloodline that was erased from history. After all, if even Shanks, a character who's always walked the line between heaven and earth, once had that mark, then it opens the door to the idea that many key characters were cataloged by Imu at some point. And some escaped, others didn't. But unlike Shanks, who's all mystery and moves from the shadows, Gunko is light. She's loud, alive, and genuine. That makes her more like Luffy than we might think. And maybe that's why she felt naturally drawn to him, even with no clear reason. And here's the part that makes this theory really click. Maybe, just maybe, only Luffy can unlock Gunko, break the mark's hold on her, and finally make her a true member of the crew. Not just a temporary ally or comic relief, and it wouldn't just be poetic, it would be functional. Because Luffy, as the modern Joy Boy, carries such a powerful energy of freedom that it disrupts the control Imu tries to exert over the world. Gear 5 isn't just about strength, it's about essence. It warps everything around it. Oda already showed us that Luffy's laugh, the way he bends reality, the way he connects with people, has deep effects. Even Lucci, of all people, was moved just by being around him, so why would Gunko be any different? If her mark is a seal, then maybe Luffy's laughter is the key. Maybe his friendship, his touch, his joyful chaos is what can unlock what's trapped inside her. And that brings us back to her connection with Brook. Because Brook, despite all the jokes, is the character who suffered the most from loneliness. He watched everyone he loved die. And now, suddenly, a girl shows up who seems to recognize him without ever meeting him? That can't be a coincidence. Maybe Gunko is the daughter or granddaughter of someone from the original Rumbar crew, someone who was hidden away or taken somewhere else. Maybe someone survived without Brook ever knowing. That person could have been captured, experimented on, and left the child in someone else's care. If that child is Gunko, then it totally makes sense that she'd carry DNA that emotionally connects her to Brook without understanding why. Genetic memory might not be memory in the traditional sense, but sensations. And One Piece loves to explore that idea, the heart feeling what the mind can't explain. If that's the case, then Gunko has 3 major connections. One with Brook through blood, one with Luffy through freedom, and one with Shanks through the Abyss Mark. And that's no small thing. That's a solid foundation to make her a full-fledged crew member. She's already funny, charismatic, and in sync with the group, and now the story itself is paving the way to make her place feel inevitable. And the best part, Oda wouldn't have to force it. All it would take is Luffy reaching out his hand and saying, "Wanna come with us?" And that's it. She'd be family. but the Abyss mark could still be a problem. It might be dormant, but it could be activated. And if that happens and Gunko ends up turned against the Straw Hats by Imu or the Gorosei, that could be the moment when Brook steps up and does what Shanks once did. Find a way to break the bond. Maybe Brook will reach her soul with his music. Maybe he'll use the Yomi Yomi no Mi in a way we've never seen before. Because Brook's devil fruit is also tied to the soul, so he could be the key to freeing Gunko from the mark. And that would be one of the most emotional moments in the whole arc, seeing Brook save someone who might be the only living relative he has left in the world. And there's more. The fact that Shanks lost the arm where the mark was might be a clue that he's already been through this. Maybe he was used by Imu for a time and managed to escape. Maybe he cut off his arm to stop being manipulated. And maybe, because he went through that, he recognizes the same mark on Gunko and chooses not to interfere, because now it's Luffy's turn to play that role. Or maybe he shows up at the right moment and says, "You have a choice now. I didn't. Make yours count." That would be powerful beyond words. What really matters here is this. Gunko has narrative, emotional, and thematic potential to be much more than just comic relief. She carries a hidden past, a deep connection with two key members of the crew, and a mysterious mark that ties her directly to the power Imu holds over the world. Turning all of that into a story about liberation and inclusion would be so One Piece. It would do justice to the character and send the perfect message that no one has to remain a prisoner of what was placed upon them. You can choose where you go. And that sets the stage for the next act, because part 2 could show what happens if the mark gets activated, if the world finds out who she really is, if Brook steps up, and if Luffy once again proves that the freedom he offers is stronger than any seal in the world. Gunko's journey, from her clumsy entrance to the deep layers now starting to surface, doesn't feel like just another side plot. Everything points to something bigger. Oda rarely introduces such an expressive character, so immediately connected to the main cast without a deeper narrative purpose behind it. Gunko, with her mysterious mark, her emotional bond with Brook, her spontaneous connection to Luffy, and even her quiet parallel with Shanks' past, is being built with a care that goes beyond the ordinary. She's essentially a living fusion of 3 major pillars of the story: laughter that resists pain, bonds that defy time, and freedom that breaks invisible chains. More than that, Gunko's storyline has all the makings of one of those emotionally resonant arcs. Not because of massive explosions, but because it represents a personal victory. If Brook does end up playing a central role in freeing her, and all signs point to that, then that moment could mark something incredibly rare in his journey. Not just reconnecting with someone from his past, but changing the destiny of someone who, in a way, carries the echo of everything he lost. That would bring his story full circle in the most beautiful way. And if Luffy, through that unstoppable, infectious laugh of his, is the final spark that sets her free, then the message hits home even harder. That freedom isn't just a right, it's a gift you give to someone else. That was today's content. We hope you liked it and want to share your opinion on the subject. Don't forget to share the video, give it a thumbs up, and I'll see you in the next video. Take care and stay amazing.